This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland. Our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings. And coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football certainly is going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today. And Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. And I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loved so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football, brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're always going to think John Madden.
The Coliseum back to its original 70s glory. What a scene in the East Bay. And we're underway in the John Madden Legacy Game. And he'll take it up past the 25 to the 26-yard line. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And, Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, and we'll call him Young John Madden, this is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL, and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over in Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. And he played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958, was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp, actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And it was there, during that time, I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, in 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date for the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just 32, Brandon, John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
And look here, it's an opening drive fake. And this is caught, and the gamble pays off. They get the first. A big breakdown defensively there on the fake punt. Turns into a huge play and a first down. Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times. And he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root, as did the expression commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about quarterback Kenny Stabler, wide receiver Cliff Branch, wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, tight end Dave Casper, to name a few. How about those great linemen he had? With center Jim Otto, guard Gene Upshaw, tackle Art Shell, all of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And guys on the defensive side of the ball, the Mad Stork himself, Ted Hendricks, Willie Brown, John Matuzak, Otis Sistrunk, and Big Ben Davidson. So many great players, so many great memories.
Throwing is far. And it's caught. That's good for a gain of 6, 2nd and goal.
A nice catch there by Jerry Rice. And when you look at the yardage he compiled in his NFL career, it seems staggering at 22,985 yards. But let's put a little context with it.
Yeah, we ran the numbers earlier. Larry Fitzgerald, who is contemplating retirement this past offseason, would need 7 more 1,000-yard seasons to break Jerry Rice's record.
That's context.
And this is not going to do it as he stopped at the 2-yard line. No gain on the play there. They're going to need to come up with something better here on 3rd and goal. This is kind of one of those in-between plays here, Charles, on 3rd and goal from the 2 or the 3 in that area. What do you dial up?
Something quick hitting. You don't have the time for something that develops slowly. It's got to be right at them if you're going to run the football. And if you're going to throw it, something quick, get it out of your hands in a hurry.
They'll look to throw on 3rd and goal. And that's going to be caught. Touchdown NFC. George Kittle, a 2-yard touchdown grab. And the NFC takes it all the way down the field to score on their opening drive. Quite the drive there to get things started. They took up the bulk of the first quarter, and they end up in the end zone.
And I love your last point. Ended up in the end zone. Because a lot of teams like those long drives, especially to keep their offense off the field, right? Keep the ball away from them. But they finished it with a touchdown. That's the exclamation point. Now flip it over defensively. They've got to slow that down somehow, right? Maybe they need to be a little more aggressive. Maybe a few more pressures towards the quarterback.
Following the touchdown, here's Anderson to kick it away. Taken at the goal line. And he's going to be out of bounds. Here's the run back. Will leave him shy of the 20-yard line. So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in the conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36-16-2. That's pretty incredible. His Raiders were a factor each and every year.
One quarter in the books at the Coliseum. What a day. The NFC Stars with the early lead. in the John Madden Legacy game on EA Sports. So they'll come up 1st and 10 now from the 33. To throw, it's Brady. Open man is Andre Reed, complete.
Charles, you think about all the success that John Madden had as an NFL head coach, and he had plenty, and we talked about it, including the 10 straight winning seasons, a Super Bowl title. But like any great coach, he also suffered through a few tough losses along the way as well.
And Brandon, those tough losses came in high-stakes games because they always had such great success. Think about it this way. 6 times in his 10 years, the Raiders were knocked out near the AFL championship game or the AFC championship game. But might be a divisional round exit. That's the one that bothered him most of all.
Oh, he faked it with a juke. Now he's got some room. And he gets us to the other side of midfield across the 45 before going out. The CD, we spoke of some of the Raiders' tough playoff losses through the decade of the 70s, but for one shining season, they put it all together, and that was 1976. You remember a 13-1 regular season, a memorable playoff win over New England. They dominated the Steelers 24-7 in the AFC title game, and then a meeting with the Minnesota Vikings in Super Bowl 11.
Oh, Brandon, what a game that was down at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. A gorgeous 53-degree day, perfect for football. Raiders got out to a 16-0 lead at the half, and Clarence Davis, no relation, although I would certainly claim him, strong on the ground, 137 yards rushing. How about Freddie Blitnikoff, the MVP of that game, catching everything that came his way? Kenny Stabler running the offense with precision, and we all remember the one that sealed it. The grand old man himself, Willie Brown, with the laser-focused eyes, picking off Fran Tarkenton and taking a 75-yard short touchdown. 32-14, the final score. Raiders have their first Super Bowl title, and we got the iconic shot of Coach Madden being lifted on the shoulder pads of his players and carried aloft as a Super Bowl champ.
On play action, it's Brady. Over the middle, he's got Tim Brown. And he's down into the red zone at the 16 after a gain of 16. 1st and 10.
So, Charles, after that Super Bowl title in the 76 season, the Raiders again advanced to the AFC Championship game the following year, but they fell to the Denver Broncos on New Year's Day by a field goal, and that ended their chances for back-to-back titles. And then in 1978, after missing out on the playoffs in that season, John Madden, he actually stepped down as coach of the Raiders January 4th, 1979.
Yeah, and that was a surprise for the league because remember, Brandon, he coached 10 seasons in the NFL, but he'd put everything he had into the Oakland Raiders, into being a head football coach, into guiding, mentoring, loving his players. And he just sort of felt like it was the right time to step away. And even though he was just 42 when he left, even though there would be overtures for a return to coaching in the future, many overtures, he never returned to the sideline.
Even though he didn't, we all know his work with the NFL was far from finished, and a lot of chapters of the John Madden story were still left to be written.
And he is met quickly in the backfield. Down he goes, folded like a lawn chair.
They have 3 tight ends in that formation. That's almost a universal sign that they're planning to run the football. But how about the defense there? They met force with force and caused a stack up behind the line of scrimmage and threw it for a loss.
Play number 9 on the drive coming up, and they need 9 yards on 3rd down. Throwing now is Brady. That's incomplete, but there is a flag down, so hang on. A big call coming on 3rd down.
Roughing the passer, defense.
So instead of forcing the field goal, it'll be 1st and goal.
Yeah, the force was trying to make something happen that just didn't need to, right? I mean, plays happen, let it go. It's over. Instead, he creates a penalty.
And he'll go down, brought down at the 20-yard line.
The big Vita Vea pushing his way through to wind up with a sack.
Well, there's still time to rectify this situation because the silver lining, it took a sack on 1st and goal. But that close to the goal line, that still definitely hurts.
Now the AFC going to use the first of their timeouts as they'll stop it with just over a minute to go before halftime. So now 20 yards to go on 2nd down after the sack. Work to be done. To throw is Brady. And that is caught for an AFC touchdown. Tim Brown, a 20-yard touchdown. And the AFC is an extra point away from tying this game up. And a little time left on the clock, so on the other side, they're thinking, gosh, we'd like to get that lead right back.
Yeah, thanks for pointing that out. Here I am going ahead and tapping out the first half. There's still time. They've got to make a decision about what they want to do on the kickoff, where they want to let their return guy touch it.
Now Adam Vinatieri for the point after. It's up and good, and we're tied at 7 here in quarter number 2. So that was a pretty time-consuming 10-play drive. And it ends with an AFC touchdown. Each team's had it. Each team has scored. 7-7 here as the kick's away. Hester going to decide against a return, and they will spot this at the 25. The NFC offense coming out here. And you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And, Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling the coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game.
I usually hesitate when I say a guy's got world-class speed, but this guy might. So let's fire the starter's pistol. Let's go. If you've got him, you've got to try and use him. A lot of anticipation with the ball in the air, but no, incomplete.
Favre on 2nd down. Got a man. It's Randy Moss, complete. Now the NFC going to call the first of their 3 timeouts as the clock will stop with 45 seconds to go in the first half. They'll throw on 1st down with Favre. To the sideline. Wow, what a catch. Doesn't get a lot out of it, but he is able to keep the feet in bounds.
Let's make this one simple. What a catch, especially the finishing part of getting his feet in bounds, toe tapping, and, of course, foot dragging.
A little tapestry, if you will.
Oh, I like it.
On 2nd down, Favre. Open man right side is Cup, complete. And he's able to take it across midfield before going out of bounds. A gain of 3 last play. This time they double it and pick up 6. And I see an extra defensive back on the field. Little surprise here on 3rd and 1. And they go play action with Favre. To the sideline, and oh, that's well done. Able to drag the feet. He's going to have the first down. 5 yards on the play there as the drive will continue.
And that's how you pick up a first down. Not only does he make the catch, but has enough body control to get his feet down inbounds, toe tapping and dragging to make sure he gets it done.
On first down, Favre. He's going to drop this down to Sanders. And he's going to be taken down at about the 33. Now the NFC going to take a timeout, their second, as they'll stop it with 27 seconds remaining here in the second quarter. So they'll come up first and 10 now from the 33. Here's Favre to throw. And once again, this is Sanders. And he'll be hauled down at about the 30-yard line.
Well, offensively, that's the mismatch that you want. You want to force a linebacker to try and cover your back out of the backfield, out in some open space. The linebackers nowadays, they run like backs, and they take a lot of pride in covering. What a nice play he made there in the open field.
So on second down, the field goal unit is on here as they try to get 3 before half. It'll come from the right hash. It's a 47-yard attempt. Anderson's kick is good. And they take the lead here now at 10-7. So a big play before the end of the half to get him into this spot, and they cash in with 3.
How about the 1-2 to the solar plexus on that one? The big play, the field goal, not much time left on the clock. That's the way to go into the half.
So 6 seconds, all that remains of this first half as the kick is away. This will be fielded inside the 5. And he'll get it up across the 20 to the 21-yard line. The AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy, and he's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on him.
Coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by the Raiders' own Trey Mosley.
What comes to mind when you hear the name Madden? Is it the coach who led the Raiders to their first Super Bowl victory? Perhaps it's the broadcaster who entertained millions of fans. Or maybe it's the video game known simply by his name. But no matter what comes to mind when you hear the name Madden, everyone thinks of one thing: football.
The core of it was football. It's the greatest game in the world. The left goes to the right goes to the left.
Madden is on the field. He wants to know if it's real. John Madden goes on the shoulders of his players.
In my mind, John Madden is the most important figure in the history of professional football. Show me somebody else who did it on 3 levels, the way John did it. There's nobody.
Boy, Charles, that is really well done.
To the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Brandon. He loved the game. He loved his team. He loved the Raiders. He loved this league. And you can see it with everything he does.
No doubt. But it's quite possible, though, that now he would say, hey, enough of that. Let's play some football. Now the second half forthcoming from Oakland. Going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game. Fielded just outside the goal line. And he'll be tackled just shy of the 25. The AFC offense heading back out. You know, Charles, Coach really loved to utilize his tight ends in the passing game. You think about Dave Casper, Hall of Famer for those great Raider teams. And I think he saw a lot of Dave Casper in an all-Madden staple, Tony Gonzalez.
Tony Gonzalez is the type of tight end I think everyone's looking for. He's a guy that can make some big plays from that tight end position. Let me tell you, you better make sure you have him accounted for on every play.
And that's exactly right, because Dave Casper, he could shred defenses down the middle of the field. And that's exactly what Tony Gonzalez did in his entire career. A 14-time Pro Bowl selection. Only Tom Brady has more. There's 6 guys in the 15,000-yard receiving club. He's the only tight end in there. Tony Gonzalez, every snap you had to know where he was because he could make plays short, medium, and long, and often put the ball in the end zone.
Well, the first play of the drive lost 4. Now they'll look to move it forward here on 2nd and 14. Brady now to throw. And this one nearly intercepted. Boy, that would have been a great time for their first pick. But instead, it's 3rd down. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42, he just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
Here's Ray Guy now as the drive goes backwards, so he's on to punt it away. And a fair catch called for and made just inside the 35-yard line. Now the NFC heading back out. Hall of Famer Randy Moss, a part of this offense. And Coach Madden, boy, he always appreciated the ferociousness with which number 84 attacked the football in the air.
As Randy Moss says, just chunk it up there, dog, and I'll go get it.
And, Coach, boy, did he ever go get it. Over 15,000 receiving yards, 156 touchdowns. And how about this? From his rookie year of 1998 until 2009, those were his prime seasons, right? He led the league in touchdowns 5 times, but even more so, he showed us all how to go up and get it. Great body control. No one's ever done it better than playing the ball in the air.
So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on to call 8 Super Bowls together. And how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point. and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
So on the other side of the field now, it's 1st and 10 as they've got things rolling on this drive.
Off the play fake, here's Favre.
That's complete to Calvin Johnson. And they'll wind up getting this one all the way down inside the 20. Chewing up big yardage. Another nice gain there. This one goes for 20.
As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you talk about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the old Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
I think he's got to be careful not to force anything into coverage right there. There weren't really any throwing lanes, but the best part for him, he's got 2nd and 3rd down to fall back on.
A good action to this point in the 3rd quarter. Just a 3-point game. 2nd and 10.
They'll run with Sanders up the middle. And he's going to push his way down to about the 12. They get 7 out of that, so they're left with a 3rd and 3.
And there we saw one of the downsides of blitzing during a rundown, because sometimes you get out of your gaps. You don't fit the run quite as well because you're headed towards the ball carrier with abandon.
To throw is Favre.
And unable to connect. If he had caught it, it would have been a 1st down. Instead, it's 4th.
I think that was a good job there defensively. They did allow him to drive all the way downfield, but once they got their backs to the goal line, they really turned up the pressure.
Yeah, they let him get all the way down here. Now the field shrinks. They've struggled to convert, and that last incompletion brings up 4th. Now Morton Anderson for the field goal try. From the left hash, should be a fairly easy one here. The Hall of Famer's kick is good, and the lead stretches to 6 here. It's 13-7.
So it was a 3-point lead at halftime, and they double that with a field goal here.
And I think defensively, you've got to be okay with that because you've kept this game within a touchdown. Your hope is that you've inspired your offense to put a drive together, get in the end zone themselves, and hopefully get you the lead.
After the made field goal, Anderson back out to kick it away.
This will be fielded inside the 5. And they'll get him down inside the 30 at the 27.
The offense for the AFC set to go now.
And really, Charles, not much of a surprise that they're losing. They just haven't been able to get much of anything going in the pass game. And as you well know, in today's NFL, if the passing game isn't working, usually not much else is working either.
You're exactly right about that, partner. And I know that right now the easy answer would be, hey, let's run the football. But that might not be everything you need. So despite the fact that they've struggled throwing it, they've got to find some type of a play, multiple plays, that puts the ball in the air and allows for them to have some success.
One play has him up past the 40 already, and another 1st and 10. Here's Brady. Over the middle here to Brown.
And they're going to get this to about the 44-yard line. Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for, and it's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic as possible. He told them, call me when it's 11-on-11, and he got his wish.
Yeah, after that debut, Madden, the video game, continued to pick up steam through the 90s in a big way. And John himself, many will remember, was a commentator for the series for many years. And now here we are in the 2020s, and this game has sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million copies. Back now here on EA Sports. It's the NFC with the lead and the football as well as we start quarter number 4. Oh, he was hit as he threw it there, and that one winds up incomplete. So, CD, you look at the accumulation of John Madden's achievements in the world of football, the coaching success, a Super Bowl title, the incredible career as a broadcaster with 12 Emmy Awards, Madden, the video game. It was very fitting back in 2006 that John Madden got the call to be enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A more deserving person you will not find. He gave an incredible speech on that day, Brandon. So many of his former Raider players were in attendance. He talked about how he envisioned that when the last person turns off the lights in the hall every night, that the bus talk football amongst themselves. And what a discussion that might be.
Yeah, he finished his speech by saying, "Today feels like the second time in my life that I'm being carried off on the shoulders of others. Yet instead of off the field, it's into the Hall of Fame. This has been the sweetest ride of them all." They'll be in search of 8 yards here as they hope to convert the first down. Looking for the end zone. And that is caught for an AFC touchdown. Tim Brown with his second touchdown of the afternoon. And the AFC is an extra point away from taking the lead. Oh, such great concentration there, going right up against the side of the end zone, but able to get the feet in bounds.
There's so many things that go into that catch, and you just mentioned the concentration, being able to catch the football, get your feet down in bounds, hang on to it all the way through the process of the catch. That was a phenomenal play.
Vinatieri now for the point after. And this puts him on top by a penny. It's 14-13. That time a 6-play drive. And it ends with an AFC touchdown. Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown. This will be fielded inside the 5. The lane opens here. He's past the 30. Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. We certainly have a good one on our hands. They're trailing after that last touchdown, but now a chance for this offense to try to snag that lead right back here in the fourth quarter. You think about John Madden in his retirement years post-broadcasting. He was about as active as most people are in their working years. I mean, he continued to play a key role on the NFL's competition committee. He was available to a wide range of people as a tutor, as a mentor. He continued to teach the game of football to all who would listen. And, Charles, as you and I know, he even continued to provide input, a lot of input, on the Madden video game.
Yeah, I know a lot of folks that design and build this game certainly look forward to their yearly visits out to the Madden compound that he had out in the East Bend. They pitch the new aspects of each year's game to him, get his feedback, and then get to sit back and spend 6 hours with him on a Sunday, watching football and listening to him tell stories and talk even more ball. It had to be an incredible experience for all involved.
And he's got the first down yardage before he's brought down at the 42. Give him the third down conversion, 5 yards on the play.
Brandon, what were they thinking on defense there? They looked like they were playing for the pass. That was 3rd and short. Yeah, it was an easy pickup because they handed it to him. That was way too easy.
Just looked like absolute confusion defensively. Not sure why they were in that set.
Yeah, I'd say you should have a few men in the box there.
1st and 10. It's Favre. A quick throw, but incomplete.
That certainly appeared to be a play call where they were just trying to make second down, second and short. I think they thought the coverage was off a little bit more than it was. Nice job there pressing up on it and forcing the incompletion.
Ball on the 42 as they come up 2nd and 10. Now Favre. Over the middle, complete. That's Moss. And they're able to work this across midfield to the 48.
As long as you go through your proper reads and progressions, the drag route can be one of those old reliable plays because usually it's good for a good chunk of yardage, as we just saw there.
And those guys like it, right? They can get the ball with a full head of steam.
Especially against man coverage, because man coverage, they're typically running away from someone and not worried about traffic coming out on the other end.
So it's the NFC with the football as we welcome you back. They face a critical 3rd down now, needing a score here in the late going. Favre. Man open, it's Moss, complete. And they'll wind up getting this one all the way down inside the 20. A big one there on 3rd down. They hit for 30 yards.
And this is obviously a spot where you lean on your stars. Get the ball to them in open space and let them do what they do.
1st down now, but the clock continues to move. A throw there, but that's going to wind up incomplete.
That's certainly not the worst thing. It stops the clock and lets your offense catch its breath and lets us exhale a little bit. Now I expect them to call a couple plays in the huddle so they're ready if a tackle happens inbounds.
So after the incompletion on 1st, now 2nd and 10. Up the middle they go with Sanders. And he is going to be stopped cold behind the line of scrimmage. Now the AFC going to use the first of their timeouts as they'll head to the sideline and talk over what to do next. Ninth play of the drive coming up, and certainly not an easy one on 3rd and long. Another run with Sanders. And he'll only get this to the 17, well shy of what he needed. Now a second timeout called for by the defense as they'll head to the sideline and talk over what. So here we go. Maybe the biggest kick of the game forthcoming. This for the lead in the final stages. Anderson's kick is good. And with a little over a minute to play, they have taken the lead. Big kick right there to give them the lead in the 4th, but there is still time left for a final drive.
Did they score too soon? Post-game will tell us, right? Depending on what happens on this drive, that's how we'll analyze it. If the other team scores, they scored too soon. If they somehow hold on, they've managed the clock exactly right.
After the made field goal, Anderson back out to kick it away. This taken in at the goal line. And good coverage there on special teams as they'll get him down shy of the 20. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. This drive here beginning probably with a pair of motivated groups. Remember, the offense scored a touchdown on their last time out. Looking to repeat that in Charles's defense. They were very frustrated after giving up 6 the last time on the field.
And frankly, it's just a battle of wills in a lot of ways because you know they're both motivated. They both game planned for this drive, and they both have specific outcomes in mind. To me, it just comes down to who can execute better and which side can step up and assert its will over the other.
And this has been a familiar sight all afternoon as they stop him behind the line. 2 yards the loss there. Now 3rd and 14.
I know they got a little yardage there, but I'm not sure their investment is right. They're still running the football, and I'm not sure there's enough time to continue to do that.
They'll get to the line here, but remember, it's also 3rd down. He finds his man, complete. It's Gonzalez. And brought down, but a big gain, a gain that they needed. The only thing to keep in mind here is with him being tackled inbounds, that clock is moving. Now the AFC going to use their final timeout of the half, as they'll stop it with 11 seconds remaining in the ball game. To throw is Brady. Connecting with Hill. And he gets this to the other side of midfield across the 45 before going out. This game not quite as good as the last, but still over 40 yards between the two. And he did exactly what they needed him to do, Charles. Got out of bounds. They have no timeouts.
And they knew that before the play even began. Still executed it. How many times have we seen it happen where you know it, yet a guy still looking for a timeout or trying to stay in bounds? He got it done.
So it comes down to a man who has done this many, many times before, Adam Vinatieri. This from long, very long range. And this is no good. Oh, by a matter of inches, he missed it wide to the right. And they'll remain down by 2.
Yeah, Brandon, that's a tough distance with the game on the line because you'd like to give your kicker better odds than that. Anything 50-plus, we know it's going to be difficult. And that one proved to be just a little too difficult. And now it appears it's going to cost them the football game.
Victory very much in sight now as they'll take a knee. So it's a win here for the NFC. Just an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. And before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.